Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
You know, complaining about the music will get you nowhere. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I am your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet. Welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel, where sometimes you get a title that has nothing to do with the picture. And I'm just saying, it's not about what you think it is. And that is, I guess I didn't really, I didn't really think ahead when I decided to use that for the title. And it could be construed as certainly things that it may not be. And I will explain it eventually on this show, but we gotta figure it out. We got to figure it out. So anyway, it's interview season now that Kamala Harris has decided to get out on the interview scene. And let's just say the votes are in, or at least are coming in slowly, and it's a mixed bag. I got to be honest with you, because is it helping her? I don't think so. I think it's making it worse because people are beginning to realize that there's no there there. There's just no there there. What is up with this woman? Anyway, so we're gonna look at a couple interviews. She had an interview with Charlamagne the God. She's about to have an interview with Bret Baier, and it's just. Oh, and then also Trump. What was Trump did a interview with Bloomberg that people are talking about. So it's a bunch of stuff that people are talking about today. But first, let's, of course, say hi to everybody, because that's what I do on this show. By the way, today's coffee is brought to you by that. If you can read that, I don't know if you can. It's, oh, wait, let me put it there, right there. It's you know what that says. Let's keep it to a minimum today, which is almost impossible during election season because there's just going to be a natural, what do you call, you know how you call a, like a bunch of wolves, a pack of wolves, or, a pride of lions or whatever. You have a name for a multiple of certain things. I want you in the chat, can we come up with a name for a multitude of that? You could say a Kamala of dumbfuckery. That's redundant. I want something creative, a palette of dumbfuckery, or you know what I mean? Someone come up with a good one, but let's say hi to everyone first. First in the chat today is obviously Mr. Aviscatus Diabli. I didn't even say it right, but there's your music, and I'll give you a couple extra sounds just for the hell of it. All right. Also, good morning to Kara Soldier, Jesse Leon making an appearance. Love you, brother. Good morning. Also, my Tripper Liberty. Speaking of my brother, Woodcut is in the house. Attack Alpaca, Lord Stanhope, Rick Ashbringer, Cool Frog. What's up, man? I haven't seen you for a while. Good to see you in the chat. Good morning. Also to Bookworm Attic. Tex AG 007. Steph Colonel's in the house. What's up, my brother? Tyler F's in the house, and I think that's just about everybody. That's a good start, man. That's a good start. Some crowd I haven't seen for a while, some names and whatever. Make sure you share the stream. I didn't put that in the link. I didn't put a link to this thing. Give me a let's go. You got to give me a let's go. Here, I'll put it in the chat. Watch right now. All right. Click this link or open another tab, whatever you got to do. Can I get a quote, let's go, exclamation point. There you go. Do that. Just put a right click that and just reply, let's go. That's all I'm asking. It's not a whole lot. It's not a lot of effort. You don't even have to share the stream. Just click that and get let's go. I'd appreciate it. But I also appreciate Sound Noble Nation for already putting the old putting the show up on your X account. I appreciate that each day. And so let's just speaking of let's go, let's go? Let's go, because I want to get a lot of stuff in today. So obviously today is hump day. And you know how every day on hump day, I got to put something out there for hump day. Now here's one. Smile, it's hump day. That's a good one. I like that one. Because today when I have to move away from this for a second because I don't trust this hump day thing. And in fact, well, let's put it this way. Today, when I opened up the hump day trending topic on X, the app formerly known as Twitter, I immediately saw butthole and vagina. I didn't want to see butthole and vagina. I just didn't. It was the first picture. It's a butthole and it's right there. And I'm like, okay, I can't show this on YouTube. So I had to find, if for those who want the little more tasteful, hump day fare, like Avocados Diablo, of course. I could put this one up. This one's safe. Okay. Wouldn't be Wednesday without a bit of rumpy pumpy. Don't you agree? What do you say, babe? Okay. Maybe that's not the right one. Hold up. Let's try this one. Okay. This is the one I already put up here. Now I'm just curious. I didn't put the sound on this one. And now I'm curious what this lovely animal's saying. It looks like it's saying something. I don't think camels can talk, but let's see. Oh, it's not saying anything. That's just a GIF, a GIF. Who? Okay. Do you pronounce GIF with a G sound or do you pronounce it with a J sound? Put that in the chat too. Well, there we go. Thank you, Avocados Diablo, first sponsor of the day, which means you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you, sir. Got you. Who says, with dropping a small bullet in the tip jar, Avocados Diablo says, a collection of dumb fuckery. It's called Friday Q&A. Oh, Lord. Don't you know it? Don't you know it? Oh, Lord.
Your life makes me sad.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely it. Oh, smart man. I'm just saying. I don't know if I should even look at the other ones. Butt rock, what does that mean? Oh, you're talking about the music prior to the show. Text AG, a clusterfuck, book romantic, bullshit from Rains, Rick Ashburn, a clouder of dumb fuckery. Okay, is that what it's for? I pronounce it with the Q sound. Oh, the kiff. Good morning, Jackals, Freudstein, and Maddie's in the house. Also, Special Can Acid, welcome, Somnambule Nation, GDSOB. Wait, I always thought it was a hard R. What? Wait, what? GIF with a G. GIF? Okay. All right. So anyway, and then also hump day. I'm still on hump day, aren't I? And then there was one more hump day, and this was like one of the safer ones. And I'm just doing this for research purposes, putting this on the screen. But there, here's another hump day one. And so, happy hump day, I guess. So anyway, that's strictly for research purposes. And there we go. So, but if you want to see buttholes and vaginas, I do have the link to the, what do you call it? The trending topic on X on here somewhere. And if you want to, the very first one, butthole and vagina, I didn't want to see that. If I want to see butthole and vagina, I have my own sources. I don't need X to show it to me. All right. Also trending on Twitter. Oh, by the way, I might be doing a new feature. I haven't decided yet. But it could be Tim Wall's dumb tweet of the day. Because today, Tim Wall's, oh shoot, I don't want to do that. I messed up. Here, let me go back here. Here we go. Tim Wall's dropped this gem. JD Vance is a venture capitalist cosplaying as a cowboy. To these guys, your rural communities are just commodities. And I had to think about, before I even scrolled down to some of the replies to this, I was thinking to myself, didn't J.D. Vance grow up in a hillbilly community in the hills of Kentucky or Ohio, somewhere? Like he's literally grew up in a tiny rural town called his grandma Mama, and she chewing tobacco. What are you talking about, Tim Walz? I mean, I get it. You lived in a little town in Nebraska growing up, and then you ended up in Mankato. Now you're the governor of Minnesota. What are you talking about? J.D. Vance is literally like came from nothing and went to the service and then got into Yale Law School. You're like, he's the fucking American dream, dude. What are you talking about? And so a lot of people replied to this. Brick Suit, if you're familiar with Brick Suit, he's a big Trump supporter, said, Tim, I saw you cosplaying as a hunter last week, which was kind of true. It's kind of weird. So Tim Walz is supposedly a hunter, getting guns, and I'm not disputing that he might actually be a hunter. That's kind of a thing here in Minnesota. Like, everybody goes hunting except for me. I'm going to go hunting, though. I'm taking my 1873 Springfield, and I am going to go deer hunting with my son-in-law one of these days. But that's not the point. Tim Walz was having trouble loading his $800 shotgun that he had at this hunting trip. He looked like an idiot for someone who's supposedly so proficient in guns, and he used weapons of war in war that he didn't, not in war. He probably trained with some rifle, some shit, during his 25 years in the National Guard, which I thank you for your service, even as part of the National Guard, Tim Walz, but don't lie about your service. Anyway, so here it is. Another guy, George Bizheezy tweets, whatever that means. When did he say he was a cowboy, you dork? Vance literally grew up in the rural communities you're talking about. Ding! Yeah, exactly. He did. Hello, Blue-Eyed Scream, by the way. How you doing? Nice to see you again. So I don't even know what Tim Walz is talking about here. Somebody here, Viva Fry. I didn't think you could have a dumber tweet than the one where you accuse them of peddling bullshit, but congrats, Tampon Tim. You outdid yourself. Yeah. This. I don't know if you know Tim Kramer. If you don't know who Tim Kramer is, you got to follow him on like Instagram or YouTube. But also, he writes for Gateway Pundit, and he's whatever. He's smart, but he's also kind of funny. He said this post reeks of horse jizz, bad touches, and desperation. Oh my god. But anyway, everyone's ripping him to shred. By the way, remember that angry feminist? This is awesome. That is awesome. So anyway, Tim Walz outdid himself with some stupidity. Thank you, Avocado Steve. Another bullet in the tip jar.
I see dead people.
I don't know why I hit that one. I see dead people. No, that's this one. Okay, thank you, AD. Dropping another small bullet. It says, Tim even wore the bright orange vest to make it easier for Dick Cheney to aim. Yes! Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, by the way, Dick Cheney did endorse the Harris Walz ticket. Maybe they can go hunting together. Okay, I didn't mean anything by that other than that they both enjoy hunting and they could go hunting together. Just make sure they're hunting for like small birds using bird shot, so no humans are injured or die, at least in the act of what they're doing. All right, let's move on. Also, now, the title today. The title of the stream today. Sweet Potato Poon. You're probably wondering what that's all about, aren't you? So I saw that Al Roker was trending today. Al Roker, the weatherman from NBC. What do they call the morning show? Is that Today? From the Today Show? Al Roker, used to be big old fat black man. Now he's a skinny black man. And, I don't know anyone who hates Al Roker. I know he annoys some people, but you got to like the guy. He's just a happy-go-lucky weatherman kind of guy, right? Well, I saw that he was trending, and I was kind of concerned because I'm like, Al Roker's kind of old. He's, I don't know if he has the greatest health, and I thought maybe he died. I was like waiting for one of those Denzel Washington, tweets. And I'm sure there's someone. Let me see if I can find one. Did anyone put a Denzel Washington? I'm scrolling through before I do this because some of these you can't show everything on Twitter. Okay, no one put the Denzel Washington one on here. Okay, hang on. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it myself because no one did it. Al Roker, I want to reply to this topic. Al Roker, I saw that Al Roker was trending, and thank goodness for the real reason. Now, let's find the Denzel Washington GIF. Denzel. Oh, there it is. There it is. All right. I'm going to put this up here. Here we go. So there we go. Someone had to do it, and it's gotta be me. I've gotta be me. I gotta turn my voice like this. All right, it's gotta be me. I gotta be me. Sammy Davis, you probably don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. Anyway, the reason Al Roker's trending is because Al Roker's sweet potato poon, a delicious dish with a side of mystery. Now this is funny. Someone put this. Now, if you understand this, if you understand the joke here, Al Roker getting ready to make some sweet potato poon. Apparently sweet potato poon is kind of a sweet potato casserole type thing when Al Roker thinks about it. Now, look, I'm going to read this article, and I'm going to try not to throw up for a second because the first line of the article about sweet potato poon, the first line of the article about sweet potato poon goes like this via the Associated Press. Let me hang on a second. I'm going to gross you out even more. When Al Roker thinks about his mother and food, this recipe comes to mind. The poon is a bit of a mystery. While it graced his table for every holiday meal and on special Sunday dinners, no one in the family knows where this side dish came from or why on earth it's called Poon. What the fuck is that? Whose idea was this? Whose idea was this? Could you read it in your best Barry White sexy voice? Well, I don't, that's as close as I can get. You gotta come on. Yeah. What? Did the writers at the Associated Press think about this at all when they wrote this first paragraph? Seriously. It's called Al Roker's Sweet Potato Poon, a delicious dish with a side of mystery, and they start talking about his mother right off the bat? What the fuck? Oh my God. No, wait a minute. And then they continue. Just as the poon was a tradition, so was torturing his mother while she was making it for Thanksgiving dinner. Who thought of this? What the hell? Wait a minute. You gotta think the worst while reading this. Once the kids could smell the divine combo of spices wafting from the kitchen, They knew it was almost time for her to add the marshmallows and shove it in under the broiler. Oh my God. At which point they do anything they could to distract her. Oh my God. Oh my God. One of them would be sent to enter the kitchen. Mom, so where's that big blue bowl? She'd start rummaging through a cabinet. This sounds like a damn cheap porno movie. God damn. I can't even read it anymore. I can't even read more. So anyway, now you know the impetus for that. For that title right there. I can smell that Poon from here. Oh my God. Oh wait, there's more. Wait a minute, I'm just gonna keep this up. Their giggles would have infuriated her if they weren't blocked out by the sound of the fire alarm. But the mother finally figured out how to beat them at their own game. One day after they had their fun, she calmly pulled a backup Poon out of the refrigerator. Wait a minute! Too many distractions! No, hold it. You got to hear this last line. The last line of this. Hello, Mike Savage. Blarg. One day after they had their fun, she calmly pulled a backup Poon out of the refrigerator. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Thank you, Avocados Diaboli, for dropping another one. Another small bullet in the tip jar. Who says, spices and marshmallows in your Poon. I'm no gynecologist, but that sounds like a recipe for a yeast infection. Yes, it does. Oh, my Lord. Who came up with this? This whole article's fucked up. A delicious side dish with a side of mystery. Oh, is that your secret girlfriend on the side? Oh, my God. Yeah, her Poon's so good she has a backup. Oh, good Lord. Anyway, so there you go. That explains sweet potato Poon. It has nothing to do with Kamala Harris. That was the picture I had for the rest of the day to day. Whew. All right, let's talk. Let's get into polls. And no, not the stripper poll. Okay, stop it. So some people are touting some polls today. And one of them is Polymarket. Polymarket's trending. Now, Polymarket's just a betting thing. Apparently, Donald Trump's odds of winning the election on Polymarket is about 15 points higher than Kamala. That's just based on who's betting on who's winning. Someone here says, wow, 3 levels are packed. Okay, this is, what is this? This is, in Georgia. Georgia, they filled a big arena with Donald Trump supporters. He was in Georgia for a rally. But the point here is the Polymarket, he's winning by 15.6% on Polymarket. But again, that's just a betting site. It's not necessarily scientific. Could be close. Polls and Poon. That should have been the title. Yes, it should have been the title. But Sweet Potato Poon was just too hard to pass up. So anyway, breaking, Trump has reached a record high against Kamala Harris with a 16-point lead on Polymarket. So Polymarket odds are just who's betting on who's going to win. And a lot of people are betting on the idea that Trump would likely win. Now, another poll, though, that people are touting, and this one's a little different, is the Marist NBC poll. Marist University, right? Or Marist College. And they poll a lot. Now, it's interesting. In the Marist poll, it looks like they had, well, it's interesting because they had Biden plus 11 at one point. This is back when they were having Biden as the nominee possibly. But here, so voters report they're definitely voting this year's election. This design effect for the survey is 2.17%. Which has been incorporated in calculation of all reported margins of error. The partisan breakdown for the survey among registered voters is 38% Democrat, 33% Republican, 28% Independent. Among likely voters, it's 40% Democrat, 33% Republican, and 26% Democrat. So it's a little bit skewed to mostly Democratic voters. Now, I don't know. Someone here says, well, here's where it's coming from. As soon as this loads. So political polls, new general election polls. What is this? Independents. This is among independents, Trump at 54%, Harris 44%. Okay. It's not showing the margin there. That's among independents. So Trump's up 10 among independents in theory. It's just a poll. In the last poll, he was only up 4. Now someone says, thank you for pointing out how shitty this poll is. Marist being rated A+ is a joke. No chance you win independents by 10 and 28% of the black vote, but lose by 5. Yeah, they have Trump losing by 5. The Marist poll says Harris is up by 5. Okay. And so the typical, Krasensteins and all the fucking paid shill Democrat Twitter handles that are all touting this poll, right? So here it says, now another one here, they're showing Trump plus 3. Since you're stuck in Marist, here's harassment. Okay, wait a minute. I had to find the people who are touting this poll. Oh, that's a different one. So these people are all talking about the Marist poll that has Harris up 5, but how do you win independents by 10%? You have 28% of the black vote in this poll and still have Harris winning. And so some people are pointing out that some of Harris or Marist polls tend to skew weird, and their margin of error is kind of crazy. So that's fascinating. Now, another, what happened to I must have accidentally closed it. So, let's see. Marist is pretty neutral. Someone says Marist is pretty neutral. Here's the general election poll though. They have Harris up 5%. Last poll, Harris up 2. So she gained her lead on this, but then among independents, Trump's poll numbers got better. How does if you think Republicans, Democrats are going to pretty much stick to their own, the independent vote goes from 4% lead for Trump to a 10-point lead for Trump. You got 28% of the black vote for Trump, which is more than any Republican president has gotten in 70 years, right? How does Harris's lead increase to 5%? Doesn't make any sense. Now, some people are saying Marist is pretty neutral. And let's see, Marist, where is it on here? Error favored Republicans, error favored Democrats. I don't know. But it just doesn't sound right that how could Trump increase his lead among independents significantly and then still have Harris at a 5% lead? But again, that's a general election poll, and we saw the numbers on how they skewed it with among likely voters. The poll is 40% Democrat, 33% Trump. So that probably makes up the 5% that she's supposedly ahead. Now, in a lot of states, especially in swing states, the Republican registration has gone up significantly this year. So always be wary of polls. Look at the underlying numbers and see what you're getting. But the only poll that really matters is on election day. So keep that in mind. Now, couple things or another trending topic that I was like, why is this trending? Manhood is trending. The word manhood. And I was trying to think about, well, why would manhood be trending? So the top post on this is from Byron Donalds, one of my favorites. I like Byron Donalds. Is he perfect? No, but he's pretty damn good. Okay. And he is talking about manhood, saying to the liberal media and the Harris Walz campaign, if you want to call it toxic masculinity, be my guest, but we call it manhood, and manhood is needed in America today. So here's him talking about that. I don't know. Is it the Georgia? I don't know where this is at. It might be the Georgia rally.
You have black men who are now looking at Donald Trump and saying, you know what? I'm with Trump. I see you, brother. I see you right there, brother. I see you. I see you. Uh-oh. Oh, man.
I don't know where this is.
See, Trump did it now. Omega Psi Phi's in the house. Okay, brother. Okay, brother. All right. Okay.
Oh.
Hispanic men are saying, you know what? We need to secure the
Hi, Green
southern
Badger
border,
Outdoors.
and I need an economy
An amazing
that's going to let me
disgrace.
pass something on to my kids. They're rolling with us. And for the liberal news and for the Harris campaign, if you want to call it toxic masculinity, be my guest. You know what we call it? We call it manhood. And manhood is needed in America today.
Okay, I'm going to give him that. Yep. So anyway, that's a different message than the Democrats are giving, aren't they? Isn't that a weird message that compared to what the Democrats are giving? Because, you know, they had Obama out there talking about how black men should be, you know, blaming black men who are still a majority vote for Democrats. Now, it's interesting because the next post right here, after failing miserably at his manhood tour, because they're trying to say that Tim Walz is a new version of manhood, a new version of Democrat masculinity. And I was like, oh, Tyre Alexander's in the house. What up, Tyre? How you doing, bro? Someone who says after failing miserably on his manhood tour, Tampon Tim now says he refuses to believe polling numbers say that men favor Trump. We've entered the denial stage. So is this Tim Walz saying that? Hang on. Here's Tim Walz.
And I'm talking here on this one, especially to the guys. You keep hearing about this gap on there. I refuse to admit that that's real because I know that we care deeply. I know these issues matter to you. I know they matter to all of us. We need to get, especially
Which
young
matters,
men
Tim?
out there to vote. This is not damn WWE type stuff. It's not about, well, it's cool when he talks like this or whatever. It's not cool. It hurts people. And it leads to violence and it undermines us.
It does. Oh my God. You always want to say it leads to violence. I guarantee you, if on Inauguration Day, Donald Trump is standing on the podium, you know that there's going to be violence all over this country. Probably if he wins on November 5th, there will be violence all over this country. There'll be shit burning. There'll be people in the streets screaming, having mental breakdowns. So, and they always try to bring up violence as though that is something that generally happens on the right, when there are a multitude of more examples of left-wing protests becoming violent by leaps and bounds, because generally right-wing events are not only not violent, but they also even clean up after themselves most of the time. You look at a left-wing event in Washington, D.C. at the mall, and they just leave the place trashed. Or if they have a march or something. You go to a right-wing event on the mall in Washington, it ends up cleaner than when they got there. Almost inevitably. And very, very less likely for shit to be burning. Just saying. So I don't know what the hell Tim Walz is talking about here. So anyway, again, we talked about Byron Donalds. But here's an example. So this is someone. This is a blue I would say blue-haired person, blue side of the aisle person who posted this. Martha McCallum's soul looked like it was trying to leave her body during that exchange with Ian Sams questioning Donald Trump's manhood. Maybe this is why it's trending, because of this jackhole. Let's see what this idiot has to say. Because, first of all, this is a fascinating person they put on the screen to talk about anyone's manhood. But let's see what he has to say. Hello, Woo. What's up? My friend Now What Studios in the house. My dear friend from high school. And Shrapnel's in the house. What up, Shrapnel? Nice to see you.
Can I make one point about
Oh,
men?
my God. Wait a minute. Okay, this guy's going to tell me about manhood. Here we go.
Can I make one point about men? Because I think you raised something. I think that
please.
if you're a man, you're not afraid to put out your medical records. If Donald Trump was a real man, he'd put out his medical records.
Oh, is that
and so
really?
I think he shouldn't be afraid to show the country his health and mental and physical fitness before this election. It's something we've been talking about for the last few days. And he's watching. I hope he understands the.
No, wait a minute. I don't recall Joe Biden putting out any medical records. What the fuck do you care about that? Okay, that's your
importance of telling the American people whether you're up to the job by showing your health information and showing whether you can be fit.
Well, maybe Harris will ask him about it. We haven't heard that being a major issue from voters.
Can I make
not a major issue from voters at all? And I don't know what she's saying. That this person wrote, Martha McCallum's soul looked like she was trying to leave her body during this exchange with Ian Sams questioning Donald Trump's manhood. What? Really? I didn't see it. She's just sitting there listening like, why do you think this is a good point? So anyway, and let's see. Told his supporters to go and vote January 5th. He meant November 5th. Okay. It's like you have oh my God. They're still talking about this town hall where a couple of people had medical emergencies and they kind of stopped the town hall just for those people and decided that, they weren't going to continue, whatever. So anyway, that's manhood is trending. I don't get it. Also in the news, by the way, remember the pro-life grandpa? He was praying, I guess, in front of an abortion clinic. He's reporting to prison today or yesterday. After spending decades in pro-life activism and working as a traveling Christian evangelist, 63-year-old Calvin Zastro will enter an entirely new mission field Tuesday, one of the most notoriously violent federal prisons in the country. They're putting this guy who was convicted of blocking an abortion clinic. They're going to put him in a prison mainly for violent offenders. This is so out of line. They're unbelievable. Zastro will report to Federal Correctional Institute Thompson in Illinois at 2 p.m. today for a 6-month prison sentence after he was convicted earlier this year on charges brought by the Biden-Harris administration over a peaceful protest at a Tennessee abortion facility in March 2021. During the protest, listen to this, because this warrants going into one of the like a supermax as far as I'm concerned. Listen to what he did. He and others sang hymns, urged women not to have abortions, and sat in front of the entrance into the abortion facility's entrance. I'm surprised they didn't give him the chair. Before turning himself in to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, Zastro told the Daily Wire that he will sing and pray with friends and family outside the prison, which has made headlines in recent years with the reports of rampant violence and abuse. From 2019 until February 2023, the Prison Special Management Unit had 5 suspected homicides and 2 suspected suicides. In 2022, there were 275 reports of sexual misconduct against prison employees. So that just seems like an appropriate place to put a guy who had an abortion protest. But the Biden administration is not using they're not using the justice system as a cudgel. Not at all. Not at all. No. They're just, he's a dangerous felon. So he should go into a prison for the most violent offenders. All right, real quick. Thank you, Avocados Diabli. You're going hog wild today. Here we go. AD says, you know, if ever there were a hashtag you didn't want to just scroll through, it is probably manhood. Yeah, I was taking my life in my own hands. I'm fortunate that I didn't scroll too far. In fact, I almost did. I noticed what the next one was. It didn't make it onto the screen, I don't believe. So there you go. Unless, was there something there that I missed? I hope not. I'm looking through the chat. Did something show up that shouldn't have showed up? Yeah. Oh God, he's a monster. He's basically Hitler. I know, right? I know. Wu says this man will do well in prison. No worries. He'll change so many lives. They'll come out to vote MAGA all the way. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Just side note, my friend Wu spent some time in a prison for some stupid shit that they should have never went to prison for. And my understanding, well, there's some things I want to talk to you about that too. We've talked about it before, but all right, let's move on. Ted Cruz is trending because Ted Cruz had a debate in Texas, in Tejas, and lots of people are posting stuff about it, both for and against Ted Cruz. Here's a clip that Ted Cruz put out, and he thinks he got the best of this, so let's show you this one, and then I'll show you one from Colin Allred. Here's Ted Cruz. He posted this one.
He said not a word about his own record. I have to admit, the beginning of it reminded me of Kamala Harris in her debates, answering everything. Look, I was born in the middle class. It's some lines that sound nice that ignore his record. Let's just talk about his voting record. Again, you can go to allredfacts.com. You can see the actual votes. 4 times he has come out for men playing in women's sports, for boys playing in girls' sports. He is a co-sponsor, and he voted for a law called the Equality Act. The Equality Act mandated that boys be able to go in girls' bathrooms, in their locker rooms, and their changing rooms. He voted for it. That is his record. Number 2, there was a bill. It was a very simple bill. It was narrowly defined. It was protecting women in girls' sports. He voted no. The only issue on that bill was whether biological boys should compete against our daughters. That's not fair. Congressman Allred was an NFL linebacker. It is not fair for a man to compete against women. The 3rd time he signed on to something called the Transgender Bill of Rights. Transgender Bill of Rights explicitly, and he co-sponsored it, mandated that boys compete against girls' sports. And just 2 weeks ago, Congressman Allred joined 100 radical Democrats in demanding that our military allow drag shows on military bases, pay for soldiers to have sex changes using taxpayer money, and pay for children to be sterilized and have sex changes on military bases. Again, that's extreme. That's not Texas, Senator, but that is his voting
Senator,
record.
That's your time.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the part that Ted Cruz posted. Here's the part that Colin Allred posted, because he thinks he got the best of Ted Cruz with this exchange.
I have to say, you can't be for the mob on January 6th and for the officers. You can't. And it's not funny, because you're a threat to democracy.
Sure.
I was on the House floor when we went through the votes. I remember when you objected to the results in Arizona. Y'all at home might remember where you were on January 6th.
So
what
he's
you were
thinking
doing.
January 6th is going to get him
I know where I
something.
was, and I know where he was. I remember when they told us to reach under our seats for these gas masks. I didn't know we had, because they had deployed tear gas in the rotunda.
Lie.
The officers locked all the doors.
Oh my God, wait a minute. Who deployed tear gas in the rotunda? Okay, did he make that up? Because there are people standing around the rotunda taking selfies. Did you see anyone having the effects of tear gas in the rotunda? And if anything, it would have been the officers who did that, and nobody did that. What is he talking? Anyway, maybe they said that's a precaution, but it didn't happen.
Or as the president walks through to deliver the State of the Union with furniture that we usually use to hold paper. And I texted my wife, Allie, who was 7 months pregnant with our son, Cameron, and at home with our son, Jordan, who wasn't yet 2. Whatever happens, I love you. And I took off my suit jacket, and I was prepared to defend the House floor from the mob. At the same time, after he'd gone around the country lying about the election, after he'd been the architect of the attempt to overthrow that election, when that mob came, Senator Cruz was hiding in a supply closet. And that's okay. I don't want him to get hurt by the mob. I really don't. This election is his accountability. You cannot just be patriotic when your side wins. If for the first time in 250 years, this project of ours, this shared American project, that we did not have a peaceful transfer of power, the folks responsible.
We had a peaceful transfer of power on January 20th, 2021. The confirmation of the election on January 6th is not the transfer of power. There is no transfer of power on that day. The peaceful transfer of power occurred on January 20th, 2021. I get tired of them talking about that.
Will have to be held accountable. That's why Liz Cheney has endorsed me, has gotten involved in this campaign, and is saying to Texans everywhere.
Liz Cheney's not popular in Texas.
Do not put Ted Cruz back in a position of authority, because he's done it once, he'll do it again.
Okay, so he thinks he got the best of that exchange. All right, so they both posted their stuff. Let me go back to here. There's a fact check. Colin Allred sent a letter urging the Department of Defense to fund sex change surgeries for minors. He signed on to that. Looks like Ted Cruz has been posting most of this. I want to go to Ted Cruz's opponent called him a threat to democracy, but Cruz immediately flipped the script by pointing out that the real threats to democracy are Democrats who voted to allow non-citizens to vote in elections. So here's Ted Cruz's response to that prior exchange.
And it's not funny, because you're a threat to democracy.
Sure.
I was on the House floor when we went through the votes. I remember when you objected to the results in Arizona.
Now, let me be clear. I don't know Congressman Allred. I have no animus for him personally. But I do know his voting record. His voting record is radical and extreme. And you want to talk about threats to democracy? Let's take a vote that just happened a few weeks ago on the floor of the House, the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act provided that in order to register to vote, you got to prove you're an American citizen. Congressman Allred voted no. 11.5 million illegal immigrants have come into this country under Kamala Harris and Colin Allred's open border policies, and Congressman Allred votes no to protecting our elections and ensuring that people don't vote illegally. That is a threat to democracy.
Okay, so that's his answer to that. So anyway, there's plenty of clips of it. I'm not going to spend any more time on that. But that was the big debate yesterday, and lots of people are posting about that on Twitter. All right, moving on. By the way, because of that debate, Beto O'Rourke is trending.
Beta!
Apparently, Beto O'Rourke. I don't even know if I can. Hang on a second. Let me scroll first. Beto O'Rourke chimed in on this debate. Remember, Beto O'Rourke lost to Ted Cruz twice for the United States Senate and also lost to for the governorship. Beto O'Rourke is just basically a pampered rich kid who likes to run for office. Beto O'Rourke said that Colin, in total command, exposing this sniveling coward who hid in a broom closet when the mob he incited stormed the Capitol. What? How did Ted Cruz incite a mob that stormed the Capitol? And he says, you can see the fear in Cruz's eyes in this clip. He knows he's going down. Oh, Beto.
Beta!
That's enough. All right. Now let's move through some interview season stuff. Mark Halperin did a great interview with, or has some great clips from an interview with Tucker Carlson. If you watch the whole interview, it's in the links here. The 2 hour and 5 minute one is the full interview. But one clip that, let's see. They're talking about RFK, Robert Kennedy Jr. At one point during this exchange, because some people think that he's kind of a nut. And in some ways, I guess he is. But here's Mark Halperin's take on that.
They asked me about Bobby Kennedy. Predicting or explaining Bobby Kennedy is like predicting or explaining Kim Jong-un. I mean, he's he's a mercurial man, that Bobby Kennedy. So why is he for Trump? I think he's anti-establishment, and he believes that the current military situation, food safety, foreign wars, all of that it requires profound change. And so I think there's some really strong ideological ties to Trump. I think he also is angry at the Democratic Party for keeping him from being able to run for the nomination fairly.
That one especially.
For attacking him personally. So I think that's part of it too. And I think Trump offered him the better deal for what it would mean to endorse him. But I think it's a mistake to just say he's a kook who wanted a big role. I think food safety, foreign wars, military industrial complex, all that is, if he were 20 years younger, had a normal voice and stayed on message, I think he would have been a formidable.
He'd be the president of the United States.
Formidable.
Absolutely. A lot of, it's hard. It's just so hard to listen. It's so hard to listen to Robert Kennedy Jr. because in this voice, but he actually has some good ideas. And so even if you can't listen to him, it's okay. I don't care. I don't care about his voice. He does have some good ideas. He also is a big time lefty too. So I don't know, I wouldn't vote for him for president, but if he's in charge of something like the FDA maybe, or any of those stupid regulatory agencies that are not really helping us right now, they're basically shills for the food companies. I'm fine with that. Okay. He'd have a great role. And then there's also this other section where he's talking about Kamala Harris. It's 3 minutes long. I don't want to play this whole thing. But he also suggests that Trump will set records with black men in the election, explains why more black men are turning to him. He said black men can relate to Trump on the topic of an unfair justice system. I guess Trump has always had an appeal with the kind of macho rich pretty wife thing, but it's also this example of bias coverage. The press says when Trump says some young black men identify with him and their parents because he's been persecuted, the press says it's racist. My experience is it's just true. They get the fact that the legal system comes after people unfairly. And if it can happen to Trump, it can happen to them. And it has happened to them and their family and their communities. And then lastly, the failure of liberals to make life in cities for poor kids better is also a massive scandal. So that's why, especially some urban black people are out there saying, you know what? You don't believe in our safety. You got all these illegals coming in and taking place, giving them free shit so they can take our place in these jobs in this area. That's why they're saying, no, fuck it. We're going Trump, and I see that over and over and over again. So if you want to catch, it's a pretty good interview. I've listened to most of it, but you can watch it for yourself. It's in the link here. Other interviews though, Trump had an interview with Bloomberg that people are talking about. And here it is, standing ovation and huge applause for President Trump following this interview with Bloomberg at the Chicago Economic Club. The crowd absolutely loved it. Here's one of the key points here where the Bloomberg host tries to gaslight Trump on deportations. Let's listen to this quick click here. Oh, by the way, there's not a new talking point, but an old talking point that you're starting to hear about immigration and Trump, about how, I can't remember which reporter said it. It's talking about how Donald Trump caused there to be so many orphans in America because it's ripping the babies out of the arms of their parents, right? At the same time that the Biden administration has lost over 360,000 children that they've placed. They don't have any idea where any of them are. They 360,000. Anyway, here's the Bloomberg questioner trying to talk about immigration.
Let's return to one other big subject that you bring up repeatedly, immigration.
Yeah.
I know it's a very emotive issue for you, but just from the point of view of business people here, you look at the full effect of taking a lot of people out of the workforce, removing a lot of people. The Congressional Budget Office is banking on the fact that there'll be $9 trillion added to the GDP of America over the next 10 years by immigrants. You want to stop that process.
Immigrants.
For all the people who run businesses in the
You mean
audience,
legal immigrants
I'm just
or
focusing on the
illegal
economic
immigrants?
thing. Are you prepared to say, look, it's fine to have a slightly smaller economy in exchange for having the immigration controls you want?
Simple answer. I want a lot of people to come into our country, but I want them to come in legally. I don't want to have...
That's all the answer you have to do. That's the only answer you need.
That means you will have...
Legally.
That means you will have to deport. You know, you are talking about deporting 11 million people.
Good. You know what? Let's say we just deport 1 million people. Who are we going to start with? Well, let's start with the 13,000 murderers, 15,000 rapists, 21,000 property crime people that have been convicted in their own country. How about setting them somewhere? And if their countries won't take them, find a fucking island to put them on. They can go Lord of the Flies for all I care. Don't want them here wreaking havoc in our cities where you're placing them in hotels and giving them $10,000 worth of fucking debit cards. Let's start there. Then you go to people who maybe obviously lied or don't qualify for asylum at all. If you came across our border of Mexico from India or China or the Balkans or wherever the fuck you came from, you're not following international asylum treaty laws. Because we do not share a border with where you fucking came from. Not even close. So if you flew to Mexico because your travel agent said, well, the best way to get in the United States is just to walk across the border because they're just letting people go. And then when you get there, all you say is asylum and they process you. Fuck all of yous. I don't care. You can go the fuck home. Because you do not qualify for asylum in the United States of America. Go back, go through the normal process, and wait your fucking turn. That's my thought on that. All right. One other clip from this. We'll play one more. This is, if you watch, listen to this. This is how the interview went for the interviewer. This is great. Listen to this.
Only 3 weeks to go to the election. Will you commit now to respecting and encouraging a peaceful transfer of power?
Well, you had a peaceful transfer of power.
You had a peaceful transfer of power. You had a peaceful... Come on, President Trump. You had a peaceful transfer of power compared with Venezuela, but it was by far the most...
The transfer of power happened on what date, you moron? What date did the transfer of power happen? January 20th, 2021. Any incidents on that day? None.
The worst transfer of power for a long time.
Thank you. I appreciate that because this is what they like to do. This is what they like to do.
I think he goes on to say a transfer of power happened in 2021. All right, so there's several other clips on that, including the audience giving a standing ovation at the end of it. Certainly not an interview that Kamala Harris could do without talking about her growing up in the Midwest. Bret Baier is still trending because we know that Kamala Harris is doing a interview on Fox News, and lots of people are just skeptical of this. Now, look, the other thing about Bret Baier, I think Kurt Schlichter made this point yesterday. Bret Baier shouldn't be getting a lot of hate for this. Bret Baier is a middle-of-the-road Fox News host who pretty much does just news. And no, he never claimed to be a conservative, right? And it's not really his fault that the Harris team wants him to be the one doing the interview. It's the Harris's team seeking out possibly the most safe interview that they can do on Fox News so they can say they did an interview on Fox News. Oh, we went in the lion's den. Well, but you had an interview with Bret Baier, who's probably a Kamala supporter. But we went on Fox News. Oh, no, Now, it's interesting, though. I don't know if Bret Baier will give her the softest interview possible because he's out there asking people, okay, what questions should we ask? I mean, there's lots of people wondering what we should ask, but John Rich puts out, will Brett Baier ask Kamala tough questions on the big interview? Yes, 14%, 86% said no. But here's that point Kurt Schlichter made, and I replied to this. I don't get the Brett Baier hate. He's never claimed to be a conservative. I don't know what he is, but he always seems fair. My late mom and dad never missed a show, and they were hardcore cons, as in conservatives. No squishes in the Schlichter family. No, Brett is the only celeb I ever asked for a photo in a green room for them, and he graciously gave it to me. So I say, let him do his Kamala interview and evaluate it afterwards, not before. I agree. Because I think Brett Baier, despite the bigger part is not if he asks tough questions. I want him to make sure he asks follow-up tough questions. So when she doesn't answer a question, which is her MO. So anyway, people are saying, oh, the gauntlet thrown and challenge accepted. And now the Democrats are panicking about this interview. Politics isn't only about politics anymore. It's also culture. But first, last weekend, I wrote an article entitled, Here's How We'll Really Know When Kamala Harris Believes She's Losing. And it included a very specific checklist. So this is the writer named Scott Pinsker, who said last week, here's the checklist when she knows she's losing. Kamala Harris will suddenly open up and do tons of interviews, including hostile interviews. The mainstream media will focus extensively how rotten and awful the American voters are, and the narrative will be planted to blame racism, sexism on Kamala's defeat. Oh, they started that from the beginning. Tim Walz will be taken from the mothballs and placed anywhere a camera's pointing. That's true. And bold new legislation that benefits whatever demo is slipping away will be announced ASAP by the Democrats. Oh, you mean the plan for black men? So anyway, well, just yesterday, the Harris-Walz campaign announced that Ms. Harris has agreed to do her first formal interview on Fox News. Brett Baier, arguably the most docile of all Fox News hosts, is the lucky interviewer. And he's asking viewers for questions. Now, we saw some of those questions yesterday. I really hope he uses some of the really tough ones. But anyway, and today, in the most mainstream of mainstream media, a pair of very interesting stories broke. The USA Today has a brand new opinion piece. Trump concocts a racist dystopian version of America only he can save us from. Oh, they used the racist thing. Yes, thank you. Not to be outdone, the Washington Post published the companion piece, Why Trump is Doubling Down on Racism. Now, it's amazing. Has Trump's message changed from the first day he went down the golden escalator? Not really. No. But he is telling you some of the things that are happening in the country regarding some of the, problems with the immigrants that are most of them are documented. Although apparently only 3 apartment complexes were taken over in Aurora, Colorado. Oh, they were only eating geese and taking up all the services in Springfield, Ohio. Oh, that town in Indiana that's run over by Haitians? We don't know. They only put 15,000 there too. The media is crediting Trump's ascent to racism, of course. But wait a minute. If it's racism, then why is he gaining among black men? Are you saying these black men gravitating toward Trump are racist? That's racist! Anyway, so they're crediting Trump, of course, ascent to racism, a far cry from earlier squeals of joy when Harris was leading, because quite naturally, when Harris was leading, Americans were so smart and fair. 6 days ago, the New York Times claimed joy is working for Harris. But a lot can change in 6 days. The president's campaign just entered a new transitional phase. To understand the Democratic strategy, you need to understand how Democrats view the world. Donald Trump is awful, evil, disgusting, stupid, dangerous, and of course, racist. It must be true because all their friends and colleagues agree with them. It's been repeated so often in their echo chamber, it's accepted as gospel. So all along their strategy was to offer voters an alternative to Trump, and that's it. It's why they could swap Harris for Biden without blinking. The Democrats aren't voting for someone, they're voting against someone. And they assume you will too. Besides, from the Democrats' perspective, why does it really matter if it's Harris or Biden or any other Democrat in the White House? Their true power lies with the federal infrastructure and various agencies that truly control D.C., whereas the GOP needs Trump to get elected to pass legislation. The Democrats just need a body with a pulse, which is why Biden had to leave. I see what he did there. By the way, good morning, Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
So for a while, they thought they hit the jackpot with Kamala Harris. When you only examine her resume, there's everything modern liberals dream of: female, minority, San Francisco, famous. And other than the time she was utterly eviscerated by Tulsi Gabbard during the Democratic debates, she's mostly avoided embarrassing missteps. She can recite speeches from the teleprompter just fine. But that's the problem. The problem is that the presidential candidate is more than just a resume. Even though the Democrats have doubled down on the politics of personal association, the American people aren't on board yet. They still seek an emotional, personal connection with the would-be president. In other words, it's not enough to simply be against Trump. They also want to vote for someone, ideally someone they like, respect, and admire. And Kamala Harris is extraordinarily unlikable. It's not just what she says, it's her mannerisms, it's her dismissive, condescending tone. There's an unattractive smugness to her, a smothering sense of elitism. Kamala Harris lacks respect for the American people, and the more she's in the limelight, the more she shows it. So anyway, this goes on and on and on. So let's move on. So she, there's a little poll here. John Rich did his poll. Well, Brett Baer's upcoming interview with Kamala Harris. I will vote on John Rich's poll, which is still up here. I don't know how long it's going to be. Oh, it's up. 4 hours left. You can vote in this poll too. It's now 85% to 14%. Yeah, again, a lot of people are asking the same question. Brett Baer's special interview with Kamala Harris will air tomorrow, which is today, by the way. Do you think he will ask hard questions? I am very curious. We might just spend some time on this interview tomorrow because I'm really, truly curious. By the way, this Bloomberg interview, let's see. The Bloomberg News editor-in-chief just exposed Kamala for turning down the same hard-hitting economic interview that Trump is about to give before. Oh, she declined this interview with Bloomberg. I didn't realize that. Here's his intro to the Trump interview. Kind of like when... what was it? Was it the town hall or something that they came out and said Trump wouldn't do? Oh, the second debate. And so Tapper comes out and makes this big speech about Trump not doing debate. Well, here's Bloomberg saying, right back at you, bitch.
The first is just for the record and for those people watching on television. The Economic Club of Chicago and Bloomberg both invited Vice President Harris to a similar interview about her economic plans that she has declined so far. The first is just for the record.
So there you go. There you go. She declined that interview. So she's doing some interviews. She's doing the ones that think will help her. Oh, this is funny. Oh, Kamala Harris is going on Fox News in Philly. Donald Trump isn't happy. This is from the Philadelphia Inquirer. Trump bailed on CNBC interview, which is a friendly territory for him. Wouldn't it be a hoot if Kamala took that interview in his place? First Fox, then CNBC. She didn't take the Bloomberg interview, in-depth Bloomberg interview, so they're just picking and choosing what interviews they want. But Donald Trump is at least willing to go do hard interviews. She's not going to have a hard interview with Brett Baer, although I'm curious. If Brett Baer used any of the tough questions he got from the internet, oh boy, she will not be fucking happy. Because they wanted to pick and choose the questions. Now, Kamala Harris also did an interview with Charlemagne the God the other day because he's a black man and she needs to bump up her bona fides with black men. And apparently, this interview was put on YouTube. And so this morning, I searched YouTube, Charlemagne the God's YouTube channel, and it's no longer there. And I'm confused because the whole interview was there. And they took it down. Apparently, because subscribers to Charlamagne the God's YouTube channel was getting comments, and they weren't good. So, for example, here's some comments from that interview. Who else immediately went to the comments section? Probably a lot of people. Charlamagne, they say everything you say is scripted. Kamala, you're welcome. Charlamagne can now join the cast of The View. Oh, shit. Let's see. Remember when he had Hillary Clinton on here and she said the one thing she carries in her purse is hot sauce? You should have let Envy interview her. This is just two ladies drinking tea. Oh, man. People you know as the most unpopular VP in the U.S. history, and a week later is the presidential nominee. Go figure. Caller, why are you sending money over to other countries when we have problems here in America? Kamala, we got prices down on insulin. When I was vice president, you're still the VP. Okay, interviewer, what is your plan to fix the economy? Kamala, in West Philadelphia, born and raised on a playground is where I spent most of my days. In West Philadelphia, born and raised. Now they want to promise black people free money and weed. Charlamagne the God, why do you allow yourself to lose your credibility by not fact-checking her or not pushing back on all her dodging questions, right? So anyway, okay, you get the idea. People are not happy on the YouTube channel of Charlamagne, so that maybe that's why they took it down. I don't know. So never forget, Joe Biden told Charlamagne the God to his face that if he didn't vote for him, he isn't black. So here's some clips. Let's watch some clips, and then we're gonna get out of here. Oh, by the way, Charlamagne was on with Andrew Schultz. Flagrant. It's called Flagrant or whatever. And Charlamagne was impressed. Listen to this.
Young black man, 20-something years old. I'm not gonna say his name. I should say his name.
Somebody
he comes to me this morning. He turns to me. He goes, "Flagrant's gonna get Trump elected."
Flagrant is the name of the show. Flagrant is the name of the show. Andrew Schultz had Trump on his podcast called Flagrant.
You know who I'm talking about. You were there?
No, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
He goes, "Bro, Flagrant's gonna get Trump."
The interview was fire, bro. The interview, and listen, the interview was fire. I don't know what to tell you.
So
anyway, that's one of his staffers came up and said Flagrant's going to get Trump elected. So here is okay, Laura Loomer. I'm always skeptical, but here's 14 seconds. She cut a 14-second clip. What'd she put in here?
Why do you allow him to call you the border czar when that's not even that wasn't your role?
I'm not giving him permission for that.
Oh, you're right. But I mean, you don't push back on it because that wasn't your role. What?
Charlamagne, who told you that wasn't her role? I bet you many dollars if I search through Charlamagne the God content, just his morning show on 105, whatever it is, wherever city it is, New York City, where the hell he does this shit. I guarantee you that there will be a clip of Charlamagne the God calling Kamala Harris the border czar. Just like if you scour through all of the network news and CNN and MSNBC, everyone at some point was calling her the border czar. Do you think Donald Trump just made that up? She never complained about being called the border czar when they made her the border czar. At least, I mean, granted, that wasn't the title, but that's not the title of anything in our country. They'll call you the, malt liquor czar if they put you in charge of malt liquor. They'll call you the roses and coneflower czar if they put you in charge of roses and coneflowers. There's no official title called anything czar in this country. It's just one of those nicknames you get when you get put in charge of something. And absolutely, Joe Biden put Kamala Harris in charge of issues concerning the border, aka the motherfucking border czar, which every fucking newslet was calling her until this election season when Joe Biden dropped out. And now all of a sudden, oh no, she wasn't the border czar. She was never the border czar because we don't even have a border czar. That's just misinformation and malinformation and disinformation. Bitch, you yourself called her the border czar. You know, it's embarrassing that these people are still playing this silly game about the border czar. Here's another clip. Now here's another one, and this is this. You can answer yourself if this is a good answer.
But doesn't the Biden administration have to take some blame for the border, though? A lot of the blame, because I mean the first
some of the blame. You mean when they changed policy the first day in office and suddenly the number of illegal crossings went up exponentially? You know, do they serve some of the blame? Holy shit.
A lot of things wrong with the border.
No, Charlemagne, within hours of being inaugurated, the first bill...
Within hours what?
We passed before we did the Inflation Reduction Act, before we did the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act, before we did the Safer Communities Act to deal with gun violence, first thing we dropped was a bill to fix the broken immigration system.
But doesn't...
Ooh. What bill was that? What bill was that? Because the first thing your administration did, the Biden-Harris administration did, was reverse all of Trump's immigration policies. So if you introduced a bill at the same time, you still didn't let the policies stay in place until you got some shit fixed. Of course you are responsible for the mass flood of people coming across the border after you change policies. What do you... In the immortal words of whatever that Saturday Night Live character name was, that, you know... Bitch, please. Good Lord. Anything else I want to put on here? Just blame for the border crisis. Oh, and she also pandered to black people about being open to reparations. And that's another topic that's trending. So anyway, here's on, we'll finish up with this article and then we're going to get out of here. There are several other articles open, by the way. I'm just not going to get to them. So Charlemagne the God calls out Harris for questioning the filibuster, doing a lot of things wrong with the border in an awkward town hall. Radio host Charlemagne the God called out Vice President Kamala Harris for her filibuster of a listener question, on reparations, and pressed her on doing a lot of things wrong at the border in a highly anticipated town hall focused on her appeal to black voters. The popular radio host whose real name is Leonard McKelvey, tried repeatedly and with little success to knock the 59-year-old Democratic presidential candidate off her talking points during her hour-long interview, which is carried on iHeartRadio's website and streamed live on This is CNN. Maybe I can find it on CNN. I'll see there. I'll try to be on time. Apparently, I'm 40 seconds late. Harris opened her only announced event of the day during a trip to Detroit just 21 days before the presidential election. Well, you are black, the host joked about her tardiness. She was on CPT. Hey, it's not just black people on CPT. That's why they don't call it BPT. It's colored people time. Because all us melanated people who hang around the equator, the reason you're late all the time and things are slow and shit, it's just hot. And it's been ingrained into our DNA that we're late, except me, because I hate being late. But, and you'll find that happens in all kinds of equatorial climates. Like the Mexicans are always, that time is just kind of the thing is a guideline. It's not actually something you use. And the same thing in India, same thing in lots of equator proximate countries. So just, anyway. So before launching into a question about why Harris comes off as very scripted, they say you like to stick to your talking points. Oh, shit. And her answer is there are certain things that must be repeated to ensure that I have everyone know what I stand for and the issues that I think are at stake in this election. And so it requires repetition. No, it's because you can't speak extemporaneously. McKelvey pressed Harris hard on issues such as foreign aid to other countries, which former President Donald Trump 78 his campaign on restricting, on her past prosecuting marijuana offenders, and her rollers retiring vice president's point person on reducing illegal immigration. Yeah. Oh, so she's the point person on reducing illegal immigration. She ain't the border czar. It just seemed that if the illegal immigration is coming across your border and you're the point person on reducing it, bitch, you the border czar. God. When a listener expressed concern that Trump, who is vowing mass deportation of illegal immigrants, might put anyone that doesn't look white in camps, Harris brought up the border. Yeah, so you've hit on a really important point and expressed it, I think, so well, which is he is achieving his intended effect to make you scared, Harris began. No, you're making them scared by agreeing with that bullshit. By agreeing with the premise of the question. That's what's scaring people, is that y'all say Donald Trump's going to start putting everyone in concentration camps. He's just like Hitler. You don't think that scares them? Which scares them more? You telling them that? Or him saying that maybe we should deport some of these motherfuckers who don't belong here, who came here illegally. If you came here illegally, get your ass home. Look, if Donald Trump gets elected, I got a feeling a whole bunch of people will just self-deport too. Just saying. It kind of happened a little bit when he first came into office too. A lot of people just said, fuck it. We're not going to be good here. You ain't not going to let us stay. No, let us stay. Anyway, he prefers to run on a problem instead of fix a problem. And we got to call it out and see for what it is. Well, it's funny because they seem to fix the problem while they were in office and got illegal crossings down to the lowest in the decades. So you exacerbated a problem and you're running on a problem that you fucked up yourself, and now you're taking credit for bringing it down by half when it went up 4 times. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, let me see if I can find this interview. Let's see if it's on This is CNN. Let's go to YouTube CNN. YouTube.com. If it's on here, I'll put a link to it because now I want to go watch the whole thing. I've only seen clips. So CNN. This is CNN. Harris and Charlemagne. Okay, CNN. Harris. Charlemagne. That's CHR. CHAR. There we go. Charlemagne. Let's see if it's up here. 7 minutes. I want the whole damn thing. You know what's funny about this? When she does these interviews with various entities, you can never find them afterwards because their campaign demands they're taken down. I don't see it on here. I don't see the whole interview. I see clips, and that's it. So we'll look for it. We'll put it in the links tomorrow if I can find a full, the full video, the entire hour interview with Charlemagne the God. Because they don't want people picking them apart like they do here on X. So anyway, all right, let's run through. I'll go through some quick headlines too. Reparations. She talked about reparations here. Here's I'm sorry. Here's one more clip. My bad. This one is the one that I was talking about.
My question to you is, what's your stance on reparations? We all know that America became great, off the backs of free black labor. How progressive are you on making it a priority and righting America's wrongs? It's understood that you are running for president for all people of America. Asking for specifics for black communities doesn't mean don't do for others. But black Americans are heavily asked to vote Democrat in every election for over half.
So a black man with a net worth of probably $20 million is very concerned about reparations. It's the irony. Now, if she's at a town hall and, a grandma from Chicago asks that question, who's living in poverty, I can understand it. I have a really hard time when the bougie blacks start demanding this. It just didn't make any sense to me. Okay? I mean, I get it. My great-grandfather was a slave, born a slave. He was 7 years old during the Emancipation Proclamation. And if he were alive today, maybe you could say that somebody owes him. I don't know if it's the country owes him. Maybe the Confederacy states or the whatever conglomerate that has some connection to slavery, Barclays or something. But I don't understand when you got Charlemagne or Jay-Z or any motherfuckers, billionaires, millionaires, talk about reparations. Clearly you've lived the American dream. Somehow. You got there somehow. But anyway.
Half a century with very little in return. What are your plans to address these very important issues and change that narrative?
Thank you, Zeke.
I appreciate that.
Let's see if she answers it.
Thank you for your work.
Let's see if she answers it, because this is a very specific question.
So, to your point, yes, I am running to be a president for all Americans.
Okay.
That being said, I do have clear eyes about the disparities that exist and the context in which they exist, meaning history, to your point. So,
in the context of history, because it's historical and it's about time, and time is how you get history, because time passes and you get history.
My agenda, well, first of all, on the point of reparations, it has to be studied. There's no question about that. And I've been very clear about that position.
That's clear.
In terms of my immediate plan, I will tell you a few of the following. One, as it relates to the economy, which is a lot of what you have addressed.
She does a lot of, as it relates to this, and top of that, and according to this is clear that there's something this.
Look, I grew up in the middle class.
No! No, she didn't! I grew up in a middle-class family. Okay, I know that a bunch of bullshit's about to come out right now, and there's not much left, but I grew up in a middle-class family.
My mother, worked hard, raised me and my sister, and by the time I was in high school, she was able to afford our first.
What the hell does that have to do with the question? She went to middle-class family. You got to be kidding me. Wait, is there more here?
So my agenda, well, first of all, on the point of reparations, it has to be studied. There's no question about it.
Here, maybe we'll get more of it
I've
here.
I've been very clear about that position. In terms of my immediate plan, I will tell you a few of the following. One, as it relates to the economy, which is a lot of what you have addressed. Look, I grew up in the middle class. My mother, worked hard, raised me and my sister, and by the time I was in high school.
She grew up in a upper middle class family in Berkeley, California, until she moved to Montreal with her mother, who was a high level researcher who probably made a lot of money, went to private school in Montreal. Just so you get the full picture here. Her black experience, so quote unquote, wasn't a black experience like people would normally think of. Which, in fact, black experience, most of us are middle class anyway. But what is she talking about? She went to a private high school in Montreal. Grew up around white people, just like I did. I grew up around white people. I admit it. Although we had a mixed neighborhood because we were one of the first mixed suburban neighborhoods in Omaha. Because my parents were part of a group that created our neighborhood in West Omaha.
high school, she was able to afford our first home. I know what it means for an individual and a family to have home ownership. I also know, in the context of history, nobody got 40 acres and a mule.
You weren't even eligible for 40 acres and a mule. Ever. No one in your family, entire family history, was eligible for 40 acres and a mule because you're not a black American. Holy shit. What are you? You cannot piggyback on the African American former, legacy of American slavery. Your family were slave owners in Jamaica, and the upper middle class caste in India. There's no struggle in your family whatsoever. So when you say I was a middle class family, so what? In the suburbs of Berkeley, California, and Montreal, going to private high school. That's
so
holy shit. I can't. Anyway, there's other articles. I'm running out of time. What was any significant ones? You'll just see the headlines. Biden suggests he wants Trump in prison after Kamala warns Trump will prosecute opponents. Maybe the ones who broke the law, like the Biden family. Breitbart, Fed admits child sex trafficking reports triple under Harris and Biden. Yeah, they need to hear that. Colorado apartment worker was beaten up by a Venezuelan gang. I don't know if this is real or not. This could be, it very well could be real, but I don't know. It's comes from CBZ Management, a New York-based company, pushed back against claims that Venezuelan gang trained our has taken over an apartment complex in Aurora. Well, they did, and even the city knows that. But it was only a few complexes. Small Indiana town deluged by thousands of Haitian immigrants. Now the town of Logansport, Indiana, is a new destination for Haitian immigrants. The town has 18,000, or population of 18,000, and apparently thousands of Haitian migrants have been placed there by the Biden and Harris administration. So another town. National Pulse, 30% of U.S. border cameras are non-operational under Biden-Harris oversight. Oh, wow. Maybe they could use that infrastructure bill they keep fucking talking about to fix the border cameras. Probably not. By the way, have any of you gotten if you're live rural, have any of you gotten your high-speed internet yet? I'm just curious. Border Patrol Agents Union has endorsed President Trump. I'm not doing this shit again. Was the quote. Border Patrol agents threatened to stage a mass exit from its agency if Kamala Harris wins the White House in November, saying they won't stick around for another 4 years of hell. Yeah, because they're just processing people. Breitbart, trusted establishment media hits a record low. Shocker. Breitbart, New Yorker casts Donald Trump as a villain threatening U.S. democracy and likens him to 20th century fascists. So journalism is doing their usual shit. Daily Caller, massive teacher union used taxpayer-funded dues for pricey meeting at legendary casino. Well, isn't that special? I wonder if it was Trump's place in Vegas isn't a casino. Oh, they spent $370,000 on expenses at Caesar's Palace for a convention, the American Federation of Teachers. Boy, good thing that their union dues are going to have luxury conventions and support Democrats. That's all they do. By the way, have you heard about Kamala Harris's plagiarism scandal? We'll have to take a look at that tomorrow. She's got some plagiarism. You know what? She's the perfect replacement for Joe Biden. I mean, come on now. It has to do with her book, like her book that she wrote back before she was the California Attorney General. She wrote a book, and now they're going through it going, oh shit, she lifted passages from other books. She lifted passages from Wikipedia. She listed passages from academic papers from all over and didn't attribute any of them. They basically just used it as if it were home. Now, she's blaming it on her ghostwriter. Co-writer. But you can read about that in there. National Pulse, famous GOP strategist, says his identity is being used for fake donations to Kamala Harris's campaign. Yeah, that Act Blue thing. They have a thing where they can they have people donating to Act Blue and these small donations, and they're going around and finding that there's people who've given 100 different small donations, and they go to ask this person, did you donate $30,000 to the Democratic Party? And they're like, no, I don't. I'm on Social Security. How would I do that? Well, apparently there's a GOP strategist who's also on there, and he's taking action against Act Blue. Daily Wire, Pelosi reveals she has not spoken to Biden since pushing him out of the 2024 race. She hasn't talked to Joe Biden once. She mentioned that on some podcast or something, that she has not talked to Joe Biden since he dropped out of the race. I'm pretty sure that she's not one of Joe Biden's favorite people right now anyway. Washington Free Beacon, Gallego makes a last-ditch appeal to Arizona Supreme Court to keep his divorce records sealed. Apparently, this is the guy running for the Senate against Carrie Lake. Now, he's leading in this race, but apparently he had some... he filed for there's divorce papers that some people want unsealed. Something about, a motion to stay appellate court decision that ordered the unsealing of the documents, arguing that the sensitive details about the Gallegos and their minor child's life stand to be published if Free Beacon succeeds, and that the press and the public lose nothing in further delay, including a delay beyond the upcoming general election. So apparently there's some things in his divorce papers they don't want seen. Here's one, Breitbart. Racist Trump flew a newly released Nelson Mandela to the United States. So back when Mandela was being released, and he was going to do this U.S. tour, right? And they couldn't find a charter jet for him. They couldn't find a plane for him. I'm like, how do you not? There's billions of planes all over the world that couldn't find a plane for him. And apparently Donald Trump, somebody had asked Donald Trump, well, you could help us out? And he's like, oh, yeah, sure. Except my personal plane is being serviced right now. But here, you can take one of the charter jet 727s and you can use it. So apparently the racist Donald Trump was responsible for getting Nelson Mandela around the United States. Now, they did pay for the charter jet, but still, Donald Trump provided them a plane. Said, hey, just take one of ours. MRC TV, Harris camp spreads fake news about Trump rally derailed by medical emergencies. Yeah, they're all talking about this rally we talked about yesterday where there was the medical emergencies, and they end up basically just stopping the event because they were taking care of these people. And finally, I can't find the Charlamagne the God interview in full. If I find it by tomorrow, it'll be up in the links tomorrow. So that's it, guys. Thank you for joining me today. Let's drop these links in the chat so you will have them if you need them in case you do your own stuff. Oh my God, I'm glad that's not on the screen. Holy shit. I actually got the hump day page, and boy, oh boy, there are some humping going on there. But if you choose to see that, that's up to you. I have nothing to do with it other than you can find it if you really, really want to. Tell me what you want, but you really, really want. Here we go. Links for today going into the chat. 2 days. Links. Bam. There you go. All right. I got to go. Thank you. My name is P-Dog Knight. And I am out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight. And thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.